Good evening, everyone. I'm still running dual duty host and technical services here for this stream, and I often get it wrong, so forgive me. I'll get this link set up in here right away, so get that duty done. So pin that to the top. So we've got Mike, Tar Heel. Hey, Mike Menino, Ben Schmidt. How you guys doing? Hey, Joey. Nice to see you all. Brian, Norm, Bob's your uncle. So is the audio coming through okay? So it's been a rainy couple days. It's rained quite a bit today. It's rained on and off the last few days. It's not very warm. Well, it's just as warm as it's been, but it's not been sunny and it's been rainy, so it feels a lot colder than it has been. We've got a major system coming across. I think it's more coming up from the south, and I know Doug said he got about 6 inches of wet snow on Saturday. And Ian I talked to him this morning, and it was raining quite a bit there. I think he's going to get some snow, but um, there he is. So, did any of that thing turn into snow? Did that rain turn into snow, Ian? Nothing here. It's just raining, kind of, not even very hard. It just rains harder, and then it just kind of peters off and turns to nothing, and then rains a bit more. So I'm pretty pleased. Looking at all the forecast models, we're really not going to get much here at all throughout this system. So I've just been trying to play indoor games recently, working in the wood shop, working in the honey house. Got a few things done there. Progress made, at least, even if I didn't get anything done. 4 to 5 inches of snow. Yikes. That's not what I want to see. Yeah, they say really won't be getting anything much here at all. A dusting of snow or a little bit of rain. I'm okay with that. Totally okay with that. It's kind of weird. There's a real line that goes north to south, just west of me. So yeah, it's been quite a fall, hasn't it, Norm? Um, I've experienced this before. We don't remember it. We don't think about it, but that's definitely happened before. 1997 was one of those years I remember. So I hope you're all hearing me. I can't hear myself, so it's completely quiet on this end. Oh, I have a visitor. Oh, Mr.
Good
Step.
evening.
How
How are you doing today?
Very well, very well. I got my pump
Yeah,
up together.
we uh, we got a little bit of snow today.
Yeah, 4 or 5 inches.
Started around noon. It was 4 or 5, might be exaggerating. It's hard to tell. It's kind of blowing. It's not blowing like it's coming in like this. It's not
Right.
blowing. It's pretty sticky, but and pretty mushy underneath.
See, it's really not even windy here.
So
It's 5 degrees and 5 kilometer an hour wind.
right.
So it's really a very different story from where you are, and you're not that far from me.
No, sounds like cold weather's ahead of us though, so that's good.
Well, again, I was just looking at the forecast here, and a little cooler, maybe 5 degrees. Um, but that'll be hopefully cold enough for me to get some bees moved.
Yeah,
It seems weird to leave them out 19th of November, but it's perfect bee storage weather, 5 degrees,
Yeah, might as well leave
right?
them outside. They're just as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what else is going on?
Well, I'm pretty happy. Yeah, if it's snowing, I'm quite content behind my desk doing. Well, I'm not happy doing book work, but I'm happy because all the bees are inside and I can do book work.
And you could turn that new air conditioner or that new refrigeration on
Yeah, I've
when
been playing around with that. Yeah, so I've learned how that thing runs, and I've learned how to I've learned all like I was you probably watched some of my videos where I'm complaining
yeah,
about the air circulation, so I got that figured out, and I got my defrost figured out, and now I'm kind of toying with my minimal air exchange. So I've been talking to beekeepers who have been well, one guy in California who
hey
winters
Doug,
indoors in California. if you,
winter's indoors in California. If
but
if there's ever a guy who needs refrigeration, it's that guy.
yeah, exactly. So he's got about 7,000 hives, and he g'day Doug. So he moves them in. I'm not sure he moves them in October sometime, and he moves them out in January because he goes to the almonds. But he's telling me that because it's so warm there, he has to conserve energy. He turns the air exchange right off, so there's no fresh air coming in the building,
Right,
and he lets that CO2 accumulate through the day. And he tells me it gets up to 20,000 parts per million in that shed. And then in the evening, he'll turn on the fan and purge for an hour. Then early in the morning, like it's on a timer, and he'll purge first thing in the morning for about an hour, and then everything's closed up tight again. He'll do it again. And
right.
I'm here fussing over like my shed was about 5,000 parts per million. So I don't know if I'll worry too much about that.
Yeah, I think you're fine there. That's just crossing the threshold of starting to get poor air quality for humans,
Yeah.
and those bees
I
put up with a lot.
After I talked to him, I turned my vent right off. I went and did some business at my desk, and I went back. I think it was about 2 or 2.5 hours. And I came back and I walked in the room and turned on my CO2 detector meter, and it was so high it wouldn't read. So it was over 10,000 parts per million at that. So it didn't
Yeah,
take very long.
I think for me, from what I've kind of learned, um, different, Rob Curry doing all his research, and some of the stuff that you've noticed and James has noticed taking readings and stuff, and what I've noticed in my barn too is for me, CO2 control is for me,
Yeah,
not for the bees. I'm not worried about the bees really at all. Uh, you might want to CO2 stat like I have, and then you can just set that when you turn your refrigeration on, then you can let the CO2 stat take care of whatever
yeah.
purging needs to be done.
I probably should do that. Yeah. Once I learn and once I kind of figure out how I want things set up, I'll probably invest into more technical things just to
Yeah,
make.
when when my building is when it's really cold outside, then my system isn't purging to cool the building, so then the CO2 starts to ramp up, and that's when the CO2 stat kicks in. It's actually a little bit comical to watch the system work. I was showing you that controller I have that it's
Yeah.
kind of an all-in-one, and it'll when it's really cold outside, minus 20, minus 30 outside, the CO2 stat will click in, bring in some fresh cold air, and then the temperature drops a little bit. It shuts off, and then the heater turns on, and
Nice.
it'll run for a minute or two, and it'll shut off, and then the CO2 rises, and then the CO2 stat kicks in, and it brings in some cold air, and it just tag teams on a minute to a 2 minute cycle back and
Yeah.
forth between the fan and the heater. It's kind of fun to watch the system do its job.
Yeah. I think I'll probably turn that refrigeration off. Well, I'll probably run it tonight and tomorrow. I not likely need it, but I'll run it tomorrow and then I'll likely turn it off and that the cold temperatures manage a shed. They're not getting, like you said, they're not getting too awfully cold though. But the
No.
nighttime lows are a little cooler, so I should be able to hold the shed with outside air.
Yeah, I've left mine running. It's just been running. Well, I turned it on yesterday, and it's been running ever since, trying to cool the building. But my building's not nearly as big as yours, and I've got 11,000 pounds of honey sitting in there. It has to be cooled down. It's just this giant thermal mass that
Yeah.
doesn't change temperature very fast. So you
No.
got to cool the slab and cool everything in the building. And
Yeah.
it'll,
Temperature's starting to drop here tonight now.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, a couple of days it'll start to. I was looking at the temperatures, and the daytime highs are going to start to dip below zero pretty soon.
We have blizzard conditions here right now, really.
And you have had, haven't you, for a while?
Yeah, we had 6 inches on snow, and then this started this. We had rain this morning, but it's made everything ice, and now we got snow.
That's brutal. That's just
It's
brutal.
ugly here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking at some messages. Somebody's messaging me. All right. Well, like I say, I'm kind of glad to see that's not going to hit us real bad. That's a weird system. It's really, really intense, and then it drops right off just about 20 miles west of me, 30 miles west of me. Just one of those things.
I had to laugh. So I had to refrigerate. He had to come back just for minor maintenance on a thermostat or whatever. So I said, "Hey, come back." Just tweaks. You put a new system in, you always have these little things that have to get turned one way, or you have to learn how to do something. So, and he said, I said, "Well, there's some bees in the shed." He said, "How many bees are in the shed?" I said, "Well, she's right full."
20
He said,
million.
"Oh, I'll send the new guy then." He said. The kid comes. Hey, he's looking a little bashful, and I hand him a red light, and I said, "Turn this on to red, not white, or you'll get bees in the face." And he looks at me like, "What?" I said, "You walk through that door and you close it right away because the bees will start to fly." He was like, "What?"
Yeah, you see the light, then they'll start hitting you in the face.
But the shed was cool enough, and the bees this time of year, they're not that, they're pretty calm and collected. So he didn't have any trouble. It was just that classic expression on this new kid's face.
Yeah.
He sends the new guy.
Yeah, the worst thing in the shed is that there's bees in there. It's that you got to work with this little red light.
Yeah. So he made sure to fix it up this time so he wouldn't have to come back again.
Coming back. That's too funny. Why they make these controls too small for an old guy like me to see even. So I'm playing with the buttons on the side there. Well, so what's on the agenda next, Ian?
Well, we're busy in the one field we broke with the hi-ho to clear bush. So Dad's out there primarily, and then I'm tag teaming him off, and my brothers are trying to keep that thing going. Today it was shut down because it's too muddy, and probably tomorrow too. We're waiting for it to freeze up so we don't, just bury the thing in mud and then have it freeze solid. So we want a little bit of a frozen base before we start at that again, and then we'll be running that thing right till Christmas or if the frost stops us. But I can't see it being that cold that quick to shut us down that way. So that, and just where I'm going to be is behind my desk, just book work.
And meeting after meeting after meeting.
Yes, 'tis the season for meetings.
Last week was kind of crazy.
I was in a meeting this morning with Rod Scarlett of CHC and Derek Mickelson, our PA there. And Derek went down to Alabama to a tropymite meeting, and he come back with a lot of knowledge. It was money well spent, and he brought a lot of stuff back. And I'm on a tropymite committee with the CHC, so we want to try to gear something to first off recognize that this pest is looming out in the world that could be coming into our country, and just preparedness measures and just things that we need to do right now that aren't being done to be able to keep that pest out. So It was an interesting meeting.
Keep it out and not be caught with your pants down if and when it does arrive.
Exactly.
You know.
So when it comes here, not be scrambling trying to put these measures. Almost like preparative measures. Other industries do it all the time. If something
Hmm.
happens, you just go through the motions,
Yeah.
and everybody's on the same page. Or even if there's conflict and fighting, they know what's going to happen, and the authority comes down and does their thing. But it's all kind of through consultation and stuff like that. So a little more of a predictable arrangement. Yeah, it's not going to be a good thing when it comes, but
Well, the sad thing is, it will arrive,
yeah,
right? Um,
Yeah.
for years, Australia, was saying, well, we don't have bromites. Well, guess what? Now they do,
yeah.
right? And y- you don't want it to arrive, and do everything you can to keep it from arriving, but it will get here one day,
You know, to see Randy
unfortunately.
asking there, what will kill that mite? Well, they know Amatraz will not. Apparently,
Formic kills it.
formic kills it. Oxalic acid dribble. They're not sure about vaporization yet. They haven't tried that. Thymol will control it. Fluvalinite. Oh, I shudder every time I
Oh
see.
no, 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 no! Let's
Yeah,
not even talk about that.
and Kumofos, checkmate. We can't
Yeah,
buy that in Canada anymore, but apparently that works still. Yeah, so they're not sure exactly how long. Well, there's a lot of unknowns about it, so maybe I shouldn't really comment too much about it. There's more. Um, there's videos actually available that they're putting together to help educate. We need to be educated about this pest for one. Does it? Apparently, it's like just
no,
hardly the size of a pinhead. Just the tiniest little.
has about
Derek
a
says it's
third of a varroa or something.
yeah, so small. Derek said you don't appreciate how hard it is to see this thing until you actually visually look at one. He looked at dead ones and he said it was almost like a speck of dust. And they move very differently and they're hardly ever phoretic. They're always in the brood. So it's
Yeah,
very hard
that's
to
the
monitor
big
for.
problem with it, isn't it? That with varroa we can catch that 5 to 11 day phoretic stage
Yeah, then we can monitor for it too. And these little buggers are under
and
the
monitor
cappings
for it.
all the time. And they grow so much quicker too. They run around fast. They tear apart the colony just the same as the mites, but they do it on an advanced scale. So it's pretty devastating.
Well, considering we don't even have varroa under control,
Oof.
you know, to
Mhm.
have something else show up that's worse,
Yeah.
man, must have been 30, 30 plus years that varroa's been in North America. It's that's I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Derek was a little. He was like, "This is not good. We need to be ready for this." I like Derek as a PA. He's like
He's a sharp guy.
absolutely fantastic. Yeah, he
Yeah.
takes our business seriously, understands beekeepers. He's understanding government more and more. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but he understands research. He understands all those channels and connections, and he's. I'm really happy with the work he's doing right now, and he gives a damn too. That
I was
helps.
gonna say he really does care about what's going on with us.
Yeah, we have these kind of this political contentious issues going on. He doesn't get stirred up in that. He does his damn job. So that's all we can ask of the guy, right?
Yep.
So I'm
Yep.
quite happy with him. And he went down there as his own initiative. Like the government paid for his trip down and everything because we need a guy to. He was one of three PAs that went down, and who else went down? And a couple of bee inspectors too. So that was good. But that's his own initiative that he was interested enough to head down there just to learn about this pest. And he almost sounds like he's not spearheading the committee in CAPA, but he's actively participating in
Hmm.
the committee to help address the issue.
Good.
That's
Good.
good.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really great. So Melanie has a question. Has anyone sent their honey off to have it analyzed to see what percentage of different sources are in it?
My honey, I haven't
Hey, Big Mike.
exactly done
Hey, how's
that.
it going, Brad? Hi, Ian.
Hey, but I guess mine would be they would have alfalfa and canola and clover all at the same time, and then later on with sunflower and little wildflower honey after. Have
And
you, Doug? Have you tested your honey?
I've
No,
sent mine.
we would have a lot of your early fruit trees. We have a lot of chokecherry,
Yeah,
Saskatoon, so we would have a lot of that at the start too.
yeah, we'd have some spurge in ours too. Yeah, yeah.
I've sent mine out west to uh, Peter to have NMR done on it, and now that can show nectar sources. Nectar sources, I don't think is something that's really very commonly done, is it? Usually, when honey is tested, they're just looking for foreign sugars and presence HMF and a broad variety of other stuff, but not necessarily nectar sources. Um, NMR can show up nectar sources. However, there has to be a baseline database of what these nectar sources look like in the spectrum, because this just shows. Yeah, yeah, it does. He d- like that. It
Yeah.
shows it shows different peaks in the resonant spectrum, and then somebody who kind of knows what they're doing, like Peter, he can sort of see things in that, but there's not a real good baseline database in North America yet. But he can identify things like clover and canola and whatnot, and so he gave a more of an educated opinion on my honey but I had to ask him. That wasn't part of the test. The test was things like foreign sugars, etc. Uh, so so he was telling me that there was clovers and alfalfas, and he said there looks like there's a little bit of fireweed in here, and he said it's weird because Manitoba honey's got no canola in it. I said, "Yep, that's right." So that's the only thing I did. I'm still getting used to this new platform. So so what's on now, Doug? Winter's on its way. Are you just waiting to get the snowmobile out now?
Well, we got hunting season on, so I went and retrieved
Oh,
my fencer and before it disappeared. Hopefully the bear's asleep now. Finally,
well, you got some nice photography there of a bear recently, didn't you? When was that
yeah.
taken?
Well, he was there. Well, that was end of October. He was there 10 days
Oh,
ago
okay.
again, eh? So, but with the snow we got now and the temperatures that they got forecast, I think he'll be sleeping. I hope.
Look like a big bear.
Yeah. Uh
And
oh.
not until spring now, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you guys
What?
hunt bear up there?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
We have a
a
bear season in
controlled
the
thing, though,
fall,
right?
another
You have
in
to
the
get a.
spring.
Yeah.
And the beekeeper can hunt bears any time of the year if they're within a mile of hives.
Is that the rule? I guess
Yeah,
maybe.
for
I don't
us
know.
it
A
is.
Saskatchewan rule might be different than Manitoba, though, so I should be careful.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be, Brad.
Yeah. I know broadly, I know that, we're allowed to protect our livestock, but that's about all I know.
Yeah,
Hate to do it, but, you know, I'd rather spend money on fence, but $1,500 for a fence or $5 for a 30-06 shell, it's kind of like, oh. But the problem is you remove one bear
yeah.
and there's going to be another one behind them.
Did you ever
It's
catch that bear, Brad, in that trap they
stupid
set?
trap sat there for 6 weeks, no bear, but no
Really?
bear. So what it is it's the trap is just a really good bear deterrent. So you put a trap
Oh,
in the yard, you don't need a fence. Apparently, as soon as he took the trap away, then the bear showed up again. Hey, Corey.
Hey guys, how are you tonight?
Hey,
Good,
good.
good, good. So, Mike, you're next. What's
The
going on
last,
now?
Oh, I'm just making a bunch of winter covers. I expanded this year, so I had to cover a few more.
So here's something that I think bears comment. Yes, Roy, you were partly correct. Uh, I think they have found trope-eaten mite in Ukraine. However, there have not been any imports into Canada since was it 23? I think, right, Ian? I don't think
Yeah,
24 there was any imports from Ukraine. So
we didn't get any the previous year. No,
yeah,
it's not confirmed, but they suspect. And the same
yeah,
with Russia too. They haven't confirmed Russia. They suspect they're in war, so they can't confirm anything.
yeah.
That's the word of it. But
So
we've
just
requested them to put a pause on it, and CFIA has agreed to that.
yeah. So rest assured, like Ian said, we're proactive on that. To, once we kind of saw that getting in proximity, we just said no, thanks, but no thanks.
It has been confirmed in Georgia, which is below Russia and to the side of Ukraine. I believe it is in there somewhere. So that's right on the borders of both those countries. I'm certain that's where it is. Yeah, so that one's confirmed. We don't import from those guys though.
No, no. So Corey, what's going on? How's the fall work coming along?
I'm just kind of farting around, killing time, waiting for the cold weather.
Yeah,
It's uh,
me too, kind of.
we still had 10 degrees. I was hanging Christmas lights today, just trying to find things to do. Yeah, but yeah, I installed a big ass fan though in my the winter shed to try to see if that'll push some air.
Yeah.
Um, I'm hoping that will serve as a dual purpose, for the moving air during the winter months for the bees, but then also help cure the honey during the flow. We'll see. I'll have to
What
do a video on that one of these days.
what size of fan?
Oh, it's it's a big one. It must be 10 feet anyway.
Oh,
My Yeah, it's a big, humongous one. I put it right in the center, and I still have my other ceiling fans going. They're still up there, and it pushes a lot of air for sure. Um, we'll see what happens. It's just something I try. I picked it up on Uline. It was on sale, so I'm not prepared to put refrigeration into my shed just yet. So I'm gonna go with the big ass fan instead for try that first.
so explain that fan then again. Where exactly is so it's not a ventilation fan; it's a circulation fan.
It's a circulation fans. It's similar to the ones that you'll see at the airports. Whenever they want to move a lot of air, especially in the Caribbean, they have a bunch of those big fans out in those airports, and that's kind of what gave
Oh,
me the idea to give it a try. Um, and like I was saying, I was trying to like my problem sometimes is to get the honey down to below the 17.5%. Moisture content. So I'm hoping that this fan will make enough circulation, push enough air that will help me achieve that goal. I'm thinking it should technically. We'll see what happens, but uh,
You have
my
you have dehumidifier there too, right?
yeah, I got two dehumidifiers on the go.
Yeah.
Plus, I put heat there. I keep that hot room at 90 to 92 degrees whenever I'm waiting for it to cure. So I don't know. I think it's just I kind of copied a little bit off of Bob Binney's and even you guys to a degree. How he has all his big fans directly over his pallets
yeah.
of honey and stuff like that blowing straight down. Well, I'm trying to cover a whole bunch of pallets at one shot with one big fan, and it's well, we'll see what happens. It's a test. I only put one in for now just to try it out. But my hot room is probably, it's only, I'd say 25 by 30. So it's not a big hot room to begin with. So,
Well, that's my entire hot room plus honey house, 25 by 30.
yeah, that's the hot room. That's where I store the bees in
It's
for the
hard to
winter.
get. It's
So,
hard to get the. It's hard to get the air to go down through the frame room. That's what I find.
yeah, I agree with that for sure. That's what I'm hoping with the big fan. You know, it just kind of works its way. Like I usually leave them sit for at least 3 days before I'll extract. So I'm hoping that it'll do something. I still have the DeWalt fans, those big tubular fans, yet ready to go on if I need them. But I thought I'd try something from above and just make it a little more pleasant to work with.
Well, hope it works for you.
Yeah, hey, I'll let you know. I'll put a video out of it at some
What's
point in
your
time.
what are you running your dehumidifier at for relative humidity?
I let it run continuously, and a lot of times I do get it down to 44% even.
Okay.
I get it right down. So I don't have any problem getting the honey down. It just takes a while. So I'm just hoping that
Right.
the big fan, the air currents or the air movement
Yeah.
will help it along. At least
40
that's
some
my,
percent should do it. 50% is will bring in around 18% honey apparently. So you're right on the target for that.
yeah, I'm hoping I'll have to invest in one of those commercial dehumidifiers that you guys got there, because right now I still use those ones that you would see in a basement or stuff like that. Like I got multiple of those going around the honey house,
Right,
and
right.
they work, but you're forever emptying the reservoir. So
Oh, okay.
you
Yeah.
know,
That's one of those things, sometimes you buy a piece of equipment and it doesn't kind of you think, well, it was kind of a waste of money, but that was one of those things. One of the I think there was only two things I really bought new, and that was my dehumidifier. And it has a little pump in it. It pumps right down the drain. It'll run.
yeah,
Its capacity is 19 gallons of water a day. It'll
oh
take out of the air. It's really stout, and it's not even one of the big ones. It's kind of medium size. Yeah, I really love it.
yeah. Well, that's probably the idea thing to do, and I'll probably invest in that next year. Well, one bridge at a time, stuff like
Absolutely, man.
that. For sure. But that was a pretty cool picture on you on Facebook, Ian. They're up in that airplane.
Yeah, I was going to mention somebody's
with,
been flying.
with your boy. How proud was
Yeah,
Papa
yeah.
on that?
Oh boy, it was a nice flight too. It was as smooth as glass. There wasn't any turbulence whatsoever. But finally, he's been just waiting to get me up in the air. I've been so busy on the farm and I haven't had time. And finally, I have all my work done. And right now in flight training, like he's building hours, so he's flying aimlessly anyway. So
Okay.
might as well take. So he's been taking his friends up and he's been taking family up for, a plane ride. So he took me up, and we went for about a 3 hour ride. We're in. He's training in St. Andrews. Oh, my battery's about to dead. If I drop off, you know what happened. My battery died.
Last time it was.
I,
If I just want to say one last thing before I click, and it was like
I
cliffhanger.
can't
Ian.
plug my phone in because it doesn't have a charger here. Like it's all corroded or whatever. So I have a wireless charger. So I had to sit the damn thing on the table for it to charge. But anyway, he's in St. Andrews, and we take off. And St. Andrews is right beside Winnipeg, so he flies into Winnipeg air traffic, and he's not scared of doing that at all. I guess he does it enough that he's familiar with all the lingo. It's almost like a different language, eh? So he's
Yeah.
talking away to the air traffic controller, and the bugger sends us right over Winnipeg Airport. And we have jets coming in one side and jets coming in the other side. And here's this little wee plane coming right down the center. I'm like, "Whoa, are you sure we're supposed to be here?" He said, "I'm just doing what I'm told."
Yeah.
But he took us over to Morden, and he landed there, and then switched seats, and then we went up to the farm. Actually, I'm going to post a video here, just of the farm in the air. So we went over to the hunting shack and checked out the hunting shack. Then we went over the ravine to see if there's any deer. Not a damn deer in that ravine. and we went over to the farm and circled the farm a few times, and then circled Miami, went back. Yeah, it was real neat. It's kind of neat to see him in that position because it's been over a year now. He's been taking flight training, and it's just the skill set he's acquired is quite impressive. And talking with authority he has a good radio voice. He's going to make a good pilot. And just talking to the command, like the control tower, and he's talking to professionals. They're talking back, and everything's very fluid. I was one proud papa. That's what you seen in that picture.
Good for
That's
you.
awesome.
I'm happy
That's
for
really
you.
awesome.
Yeah, he let me fly too. So he let me hang on to this thing, and I thought I felt like we were gonna crash. He said, "Are you kidding me?"
He let you fly the airplane. So he let you fly the airplane. Was that before or after the incident with the Traco? Did you tell him about that, and then he let you fly the plane?
Yeah, he knew about that. He was kind of like, "Dad, how did you do that?"
How did you stick a tree through the side of the Traco?
But I'm flying this thing, and then I hand it back over to him. He says, "Dad, now you are a pilot."
There you go.
So,
Easy as that.
Neat. Yeah, just like that. Yeah,
that's really cool. I grew up in those little planes.
Farm looks pretty good from the air. Yeah, nice, and everything's clean. It's fall. The fields
are less work up there.
Yeah.
Farm is a lot less work when you're in the air.
Yeah. Gosh, my brother was working with cattle, and he was moving cattle from one pen to the other, trying to process them. I'm not sure what he was doing, but we circled the farm probably twice, and it was spooking the cows. I didn't realize it until after. But he's there trying to move these cows, and we're circling over top of them. The cows are running everywhere. He's shaking his fist. I thought he was waving at us.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was a good day.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't get out to do too much of that. You know, the most times I ever got into those planes, I actually went parachuting once where I jumped out one of those. But other than that, it's always just the big commercial jets where you feel a little safer.
Jump out of a perfectly good airplane. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know what that's all about.
I was quite young. I was a little probably bolder than smart back then. So, who knows? Had to try it.
So your boy is one of the planes that
Ian
is flying over my aviary when I'm trying to do videos. Is that it?
Yeah. There's a difference in this. Yeah. There's a difference.
I don't get it.
We missed that one, Doug, a little bit. I heard a duck. That's all I heard.
I was just telling Ian there's a difference. This and this.
Yep.
Oh.
I got you now.
Okay.
For this.
Yeah, there might have been. Yeah, there might have been a figure involved.
Come up.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't give a damn because I was flying as. Yeah, my son, they practice fly, and it's near Lebu, I think, there somewhere.
Yeah.
But I told him I have a beekeeper friend out there. He says, "Oh yeah, I know there's a bee yard down. There's a few bee yards down in that area." And I said, "Yeah, that's one of my buddies out there."
Yeah.
So he's probably one of those planes bothering you over top.
Sure. Oh yeah. Yeah, I like looking at I'll try to figure out what kind of airplane that is by the way it sounds, and then I'll look up and see what it is. So those boxers, I can hear those coming a long ways away. Yeah, my wife took lessons years and years ago, a long time before we ever met. And yeah, this is the training area. This is where they do the training. Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, not only do they do training here, but we're like between St. Andrews Airport and the Selkirk Seaport off the Red River. We're right on the air lane between those two airports and northern communities and fishing lodges. So that's why when I do my videos, you hear so many airplanes going over my yard because we're right in that line.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
And all of
Yeah,
the
he was telling
airplanes
me.
that go up north come out of either Selkirk or St. Andrews.
Yeah, he's telling me St. Andrews is the 9th busiest airport in Canada. And I'd believe it. Boy, that air traffic controller, he was just rattling off guys coming this way, guys going that way. It was busy as compared to Winnipeg International, which is, had jets coming in, but St. Andrews would come in there and there's planes everywhere coming down to land. It's a busy airport.
Yeah.
There's 4 different hangars yeah, it's got quite a few businesses
Yeah, it's not a
along there
small
servicing the north.
It's not a small operation there. I sat at the end of that runway. James, I was driving and James called me, so I pulled over and sat there and talked to James for about an hour on the phone. And all the students were doing their circuits. So
Yeah.
it was like every 10 seconds their airplane went over my truck, every 10 seconds. And after a bit, I realized that it was about the same 4 airplanes going over my truck all the time.
Yeah.
So they were just doing touch and go.
Yeah.
Getting their sea legs.
So he should be pretty much done end of January. We're gonna write the big check, and he's gonna get all his ratings, multi ratings, and everything like that. Then he'll be employable. And my brother, like, he flies for Air Canada, so he knows a few business flight companies. So he give Michael a bit of advice, which one is good business to work for, which one isn't. So he found maybe 1 or 2 that he might apply for, and they just got word that he's a pilot looking for a job, and he'll be hired on the spot. And it
Nice.
sounds like he'll be loading on the dock. Like when Jeff started, he was a year and a half before he had the pilot seat, and Jeff figures Michael will get up flying probably in 3 or 4 months of getting hired. So it's a good time to be a pilot.
Nice.
Lots of retirements and Jeff is flying. They're busy. The planes are full, so it's a good booming business right now. So he's entering the business at the right time.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
That's really good to hear. Really good to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a positive step because you hear so many kids who go to university and school study for something and they're not getting a job in their field, So whenever it works out and you do what you love, what more can a person ask for?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's hope not that. Let's hope it's not Gimli glider training.
Yeah,
That's not what you want.
But gosh,
I got a little story about that. So now there's a lot of people here not going to get what Gimli glider is, but basically it was a Boeing 767, I think, wasn't it, when they were new? It was back in the 80s, I think. Ran out of fuel and landed on a decommissioned airport in Gimli, Manitoba. The airstrip had been used by the local drag club for drag races, and the kids used to just go out there and play and ride their bikes. So there was a guy, he was a kid, and he was riding his bike down this runway, totally oblivious to the fact that there was a 767 landing dead stick behind him. And he just got run over. And so it was about, I think it was like 30 years, nearly to the day, this guy's driving down the highway, not the Gimli highway, but not far from it. He's driving down the highway in his pickup truck. He's driving along, and this bloody airplane lands on the highway right in front of him. The day that the Gimli glider landed behind him. Like, this guy's bad luck with airplanes landing.
Stay away
on
from
top
him.
of him. Same guy. He's like, this keeps happening to me.
Can you imagine being a kid on a bike and you look behind you and this big ass jet's tailing you? Can you imagine that?
Oh,
God.
jeez.
Well, you definitely have to go home and change your pants.
Mom, I have this big jet landed. I was riding my bike. This big jet landed. Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Jimmy,
right. You're full of stories.
Yeah.
That's quite a story. So anybody that has never heard that story, look up Gimli glider. There's movies and little documentaries and stuff made about it. It's quite the experience. these guys totally ran out of fuel, and he had to fly a dead stick for a long time. It was kind of like a Sully Sullivan story where
Yeah.
the pilot was very experienced, and like if you know what a side slip is, he side slipped a 767 to get it down low enough to land at Gimli, and that's you don't side slip a 767 even if it has engines running, let alone trying to do it just on manual controls. So quite a story.
I guess. My God. Well, it couldn't have been much wind and stuff like that if he was able to do that.
It was good weather conditions.
Good weather for
Yeah,
that.
daytime, right? So
Mhm.
everything was visual, everything was manual. They had no, I don't think they had any instruments at all. Everything was dead.
Mhm.
They put on, because the fuel gauge wasn't working. They come out of Toronto, I think, and the fuel gauge wasn't working, and so they put on X number of kilograms of fuel. This was 5-10 years after Canada went metric. They put on X number of kilograms of fuel and got halfway to Winnipeg and realized they'd put on that many pounds of fuel, which was
Uh-oh.
half as much fuel.
Yeah.
So they ran out.
For sure. Okay.
Yeah, that's right, Norm. These kids are riding their bike down the runway, and there's big things coming up behind them, not making any noise. Yeah.
Good for them.
So, well, I loved going flying with my dad in the 70s. He used to go up in the small planes. He had his last plane was a Stinson 108. Beautiful, beautiful airplane. He loved that airplane. He always said that if you can't fly a Stinson 108, you shouldn't be in the air, because it was so easy to fly.
Yeah.
He said if you ever got out of control, spin or spirals or whatever you do, if you get it out of control in a Stinson, all you do is slide your feet off the pedals and put your hands in your lap and let the airplane fly, because it'll fix it.
Yeah.
Norm just said their best job is a bush pilot, airline pilot is like being a bus driver.
Yep.
Except my brother, he used to bush pilot, and he would probably agree to a certain extent. But he said, when you're bush piloting, you have to load and unload the cargo. When you're airline pilot, the cargo gets on and gets off itself. So there you
That's
go.
what I always used to say. My brother was a long haul freight driver, and I was a tour bus driver, and I said my cargo walks on and off, but I still had to load the suitcases.
Gosh.
Can get pretty rough over the prairies in the summer on my plane.
Oh yeah.
I imagine not yesterday. It was just like glass. Either that, or my brother, either it was like glass, or my son was a really good pilot.
Some things not even a good pilot can fix. Yeah, the cold weather is good. The hot weather is pretty rough, but cold weather is pretty nice.
Do you have your Skidoo all tuned up and ready to go then, Doug, for your winter cruises?
Had it run
That's on
today.
about a 10-minute delay.
Getting ready to go, eh?
Yeah,
I don't know. There's not too many people that even bring the Skidoos out in here anymore because the weather fluctuates so much. It's like they get 3 or 4 rides in, and then that's it. That's your season. Everybody's on 4-wheelers now.
Oh, or side by sides.
Yeah, side by side, stuff like that. Like last year, I'm willing to bet the Skidoo trails, I wonder if they even opened up at all last year. If they did, it might have been for a week. Yeah, and then we had that warm spell in January, and they stayed open. They didn't freeze up. Nobody got to pay all that money for trail passes, and you can't go skidooing, sledding.
Yeah.
Oh.
Northern Yankee.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the Northerners. Yeah, you're Mike. He's not far south of Montreal, even. I think, Mike, aren't you?
No.
I think
Oh.
Mike is frozen or something.
Yeah. Hmm. Oh. Well, they're more, I think, more in some the Laurentians and stuff like that, so they might actually get a little bit more snow than what we do, right along the Seaway Valley.
They do get a lot of snow up there.
Yeah.
Even Alex gets a lot of snow.
Yeah, he's because he's more up around the Laurentians or something.
The snowbanks and snowdrifts here get pretty deep because we get a lot of wind in the winter, but we don't really get tons of snow here. Like Ian gets 10-foot, 12-foot snowdrifts, but
Yeah.
you go 1,000 feet out in the field and
Yeah.
there's no snow at all.
Yeah, with all that clear cutting you're doing, Ian, wait until this year comes around.
Yeah, no kidding. I bitch about trees coming down, and there's a lot, and I'm doing it myself. Boy,
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like a hypocrite in that damn hi-ho, clearing bush and making the land farmable. But I mean, that's the job, I guess.
Pretty much cleaning out
Crop
fence
dusting.
posts.
Oh hell no! I'm not gonna. Have you seen those guys? I'm sure you could make a lot of money doing that. But actually, my brother was saying, the guy who flies for the airline, he was saying that the pilots, to progress their career, they will overlook a crop duster to a pilot that's gone more of a commercial route, just because the crop duster type are more renegade and they maybe don't follow the rules like they maybe should. Where
Much.
airline pilots, everything has got to be by the book, and it's
Yep.
just that it's so irritating, but they do it for a reason, and they don't. Not to say that they won't be hired, but if they have their choice, they'll be picking the commercial guys over the some of those other.
Yeah, they're air cowboys, those guys.
Boy, the guy spraying our sunflowers, I sat there and watched, and he was, I swear, off that hydro line.
Yep.
What a lunatic! He was doing a great job because he was getting every corner. That's what we paid him for. But he risked his life every.
Oh.
No.
No.
Bye, Ian. Say bye. Bye. Oh boy.
Please don't get Ian the new phone charger.
Let's see what we can do for Ian.
Love the banner.
Oh, we'll have to get Mike a charger as well. And poor Doug is on about a 3-minute delay. Can't get a word in edgewise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, that explains it.
Kind of difficult.
Okay.
But it's pretty bad because I get the cats, and I'm allergic to cats. Welcome back, Mike. Are you there now? I don't think he's there yet. Hasn't. Oh, there he is. He's moving now. I don't think he can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Everything was. I've been listening to you guys, and you've been going in and out. So I figured I'd just shut down and try again.
Yeah.
Because half the stuff you guys were saying, I couldn't hear. It was all jobbled.
Good. We were talking about you, so it's good you couldn't hear us.
That's probably a good thing. I take it personal.
No, we're actually saying that you're actually quite a ways north too. You're not that far from Montreal, are you?
Probably about 6 hours north. Of course, it's pretty much all back roads. Once you get,
6
100
hours
miles
north
away.
isn't very far if you're driving on a bush road.
No.
Well, that's
my
not
camp
too
is
bad.
up around the 45th parallel.
You're around the 45th.
You know, I'm locked up again, or you're locked up.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm locked up. Corey's still moving.
Yeah, no, I'm still here. That I can hear Mike fine. Yeah. So whereabouts are you then, Mike? Like, I'm not quite sure. Are you north of Montreal or are you American? Or am I?
He's New Hampshire.
Yeah, I'm in southern New Hampshire, and I have
Okay.
a place also up at the Canadian border in Vermont.
Okay. And you keep bees in both
I
of them?
had bees in both places.
Yeah.
I used to, but then when the gas prices went through the roof, it was $150 to drive up and check them.
Oh,
Yikes.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
get quite a
But
bit
it
of
gave me
snow
an
there
excuse
too.
to go to camp.
Is kind of what
Oh,
we're
up
talking
there
about.
you can snow. Yeah, up north you can. I've had people almost snowmobile over my hives.
Yeah.
Couldn't see
Yeah.
the fence. Couldn't see anything.
Wow.
I was out there. What is it? It was April 15th. We were out snowmobiling. There was a moose in a snowmobile road. Wouldn't
Hmm.
move. Couldn't get by it. Finally got it off. And when it stepped off the trail, it was up to its shoulders in snow on April 15th.
Mm-hmm.
But it hasn't been like that for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, we don't see
Yeah.
snow like that.
Mike should buy
No, we
gas
don't.
up here.
So are you kind of in?
What was that?
It's going to take a while. Is that Doug?
I was saying Mike should buy gas up here.
Yeah, really.
What's it, $25 a gallon now?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
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 Well, it's dropping a little bit. We're down to around $1.44 a liter here
Yeah.
around the Cornwall area. A liter.
Actually,
So
I
I don't.
think I saw it for about $1.25 recently. It's
Oh,
pretty low.
really?
Pretty low. Yeah. Which is perverted that I think that's low.
I
You know.
know.
We're seeing a
Or
little
dark.
bit, well, just under $3 here and there.
That's a gallon, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
3.58 liters.
So.
But
Yeah,
it's US dollar too.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
actually, if you do the math, it's pretty close to the same. We don't pay much different price in gas once you do all the math.
Yeah. For sure.
So,
Okay.
not much bees to talk about in November
How
19th.
are your winter covers coming, Brad?
Oh, I'm using up staples and cutting screen, and I'm getting there. I probably got, I don't know, probably got half of them done. I'm waiting for my new dado break. Did I put that on the last vlog? The fact that my
I saw it just, it showed
Yeah.
it out or something.
It failed. Yeah, which was weird. I was using it last week, and then okay, and then a couple days later, I went to use it, and it was no good. So, guy said he's going to send me a new one. I could go buy one, but it's $175 plus tax. And Doug is going to try to come back to alleviate that delay. Yeah, so I'm waiting for that so I can just cut the little entrance in the front, the upper entrance in the box, and then I should be able to roll some of those out, get them filled with shavings, and get them put
How
on
about
the
a
sides.
hand saw and a chisel? Works real good.
Yeah, well, I could do that too, but I'm still working on the screens and stuff. So it's not like I'm out of work, right?
Yeah.
So I've got lots of screens to do, and then I can.
Those covers I was showing you, I made them a few years ago, and I had a little gate in the front, just made out of wood, so I could close that upper entrance in the spring, because that bugs the shit out of me with them using the upper entrance instead of the bottom.
Oh, does it? How come?
Oh, because I don't want them to. I want
Yeah,
them to come in the bottom. Yes.
You do it right. No, I don't recall that I cared, but I'll just take it off, right? Just take it off. Put
I
the lid on
also
once it gets warm.
I had them so I could use them up north. Up north, I use the upper entrance. Down here, I don't.
Yeah,
I just, I have a closed upper entrance.
yeah.
And it's been working out well. I'll
Well,
take
I'm
a quick.
looking forward to seeing how well it works because it worked well, 9 years ago.
Mhm. Well, just you must be, Mike. I'm wondering if you're actually further north than what I am here in Canada.
Well,
Um,
my camp, which is about 3.5 hours north, is on the 45th parallel.
uh,
So I don't know what parallel you are on.
I think, well, Brad told me not too long ago. I kind of forgot what you told me, Brad. I think
I
I'm
can
around the 45th as well,
Yeah.
or am I the 40th?
I can look it up.
Hmm.
What's your closest town again?
The closest Cornwall.
Oh, the
Montreal is only an hour from me.
closest town is Cornwall.
Yeah,
You're just north of Cornwall, I think.
yeah. I'm in St. Andrews, in just north of Cornwall.
Okay.
I remember you talking about it. I think a few lives ago we were
45. Yeah.
45, so kind of
Yep.
adjacent. Well, if we get a Colorado low that goes through, like in late spring or something like that, we'll get a pretty good dumping of snow. But usually the rivers and that are starting to melt up, so the snowmobilers still don't get any luck. They don't catch a break. They basically are shutting down the trails. Then
Hmm.
you know, we'll see. Maybe this year we'll get a lot more. Who knows?
These guys, Norman's even talking like that. These guys that talk about, Americans that talk about Yankees and Mason Dixon lines and stuff. It's like that's code words. It doesn't mean anything to Canadians.
Did you see JW? Says that we've been overtaken by the North. 4
Yeah.
Canadians and a
Well,
northern Yankee.
it, if the, it's not because the link is pinned.
JW, we'd love to have a Southerner
Come on
talk
in,
with us.
JW. Click the link.
Yeah.
Who minds?
Yeah. So, I was like saying that it's 19th of November and it seems really weird. I haven't moved any. My bee are pretty much still look just like this.
Yeah,
Except a lot of those hives are wrapped now in the polystyrene, but
yeah.
all the unwrapped hives and stuff are still sitting there too, and it seems really weird. But it's 6 degrees outside.
I know it's
Did,
crazy, huh?
did, did
I
you
can't
end up?
even.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say I can't even cool my building with nothing in it, let alone full of bees.
Yeah.
Did you end up using the plastic wrap to hold the foam on, or
I did plastic wrap that, Mike. That worked really well. Thanks for
did
that
it good?
suggestion. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
The only thing that
Yeah.
would be better is if I could find some white plastic wrap. But I did see one source for it online, but it was horrendously expensive.
Yeah.
I'd protect my polystyrene if I could find some white.
It's looking like I'll be pulling the bees in probably around the 27th of November. Then our temperatures are going to be around that 0, 1, 2. Our nights are going to be around -5, and I'll probably pull the trigger on that and bring them in for that. 27th to the 30th, someplace around there. I'm definitely good well, they're actually forecasting our first snow. We haven't even gotten a snowfall yet, or even a dusting yet. But they're calling maybe for the 2nd of December that we may get one. But that's so so far in the future, they have a hard time, predicting a couple of days
Oh
ahead.
yeah,
Never mind, still
beyond
10
about 3
days
days,
away.
it's roll the dice, throw it
Yeah.
out. Okay, looks like snow.
Yeah, it looks like snow, and we might end up with 12 degrees by that time. Who knows? But
White plastic wrap, same stuff used to wrap round bales of hay. You know what? That might be the stuff. That might
Yeah.
be what I can use. I'll have to go talk to my neighbor. I think he had some of that stuff. Thanks for that suggestion. Because I have this big theory that you don't want solar gain on your hives, and it would be nice to have something opaque to protect the polystyrene because it's not UV stable. It's pretty good. Like it'll be okay one season. It won't be too bad, but leave it on there a couple of seasons, it'll start to really kind of fall apart.
You would almost think you would be able to pick some of that up from like farmers are always feeding their cattle. Like they just throw that out. You could probably get
Yeah,
that, scraps of it.
sure. Yeah, after they take it off the bales, they just have to
Yeah,
recycle it. That's one of the big things I don't like about the idea of wintering outdoors
Yes, they
is I
wrap
have a
boat.
lot of material then that I need to store. I need to store things all winter or all
yeah,
summer, I mean. Um, yeah, stuff
yeah.
stuff that they wrap boats in. Yeah.
Hmm.
But I have to store things all summer. I have to store all the wraps. I have to store all the insulation. I have to store all the quilt boxes and all the wood chips, and that's just stuff that mice get into and whatnot. And
Yeah.
wintering indoors, there's nothing. There's none of that at all.
Hmm.
There's no waste. There's
You'll have to
no,
make
you know.
you have to make a few more pallets to store your stuff on.
Yeah, well, it's difficult. I've thought about it for a long, long time. Over a year, we've been going back and forth on different ideas on how to do it because I want to recover my building,
Hmm.
but the bees are stored in there in the winter. I'd like to work in there in the winter. I'd like to develop that building as a proper honey house all year round. And my alternative is to winter the bees outdoors or winter my bees in a different building. Well, I don't have a different building. So okay, let's build a different building. Oh, okay. Who's going to pay for that? Is you see this is for my new bee building. So get your credit card out, okay? Just scan that and get your credit card out. So yeah, the bee business has to make a lot more money to do that. Now, it isn't a total outlay because bee wraps are not cheap. They're not free. So, you can put a lot of money into bee wraps, and if you're just going to do a building, for example, running about say 150 colonies in the winter, um, what are bee wraps going to cost? $20, $30 maybe for bee wraps. And the building that I had the building, so that's a big step forward. I had to put my HVAC in. I had to put my big fan and my heater and my controller and everything. I spent about $1,000. Well, that's $2,000, $3,000 for bee wraps, or $1,000 to winter them indoors. So I saved a bunch of money there.
Brad, would you be better off doing like poly bottoms? That you could winter out with less work and use your regular wood boxes as supers.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I've been watching Doug's experiment with his polystyrene hives. Um, because I think if I were to winter outdoors, I really would like to. So Doug is typing in the chat. You should see what your delay is, Doug. I can hear you typing. So when do you hear me say, "Hey, Doug, say hi"?
Say hi.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that's a long delay.
That's a long delay. My
So
goodness.
Doug has
Wow.
got. He says that two of us can wrap a yard in a day, and unwrap in a day. If we're all poly hives, it would save 4 man days, and that's kind of the key too. Wrapping really isn't really all that much work. but that's two guys, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I'm the size of two guys, but I still only got two hands and two legs.
Mhm.
So I'm still only one guy. And it's one of those things where if you've got somebody else to hold the other end of the wrap or the rope or something, it's so much easier and faster. And I choose not to do that. I don't want to do that.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm watching Doug's polystyrene yard. And if I'm going
Mhm.
to invest in anything, it's going to be exactly that, Mike. Those polystyrene boxes. I think I have figured out how to modify my pallets that I already own in order to use the polystyrene boxes on the same pallets.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Then I can winter those outdoors with no change at all. So I have no winter wraps to store indoors all summer, and I have no bees to wrap and unwrap in the fall and spring. After that, then I have the option I could winter bees at my out yards. So I don't have to move bees then.
Yeah.
So I think those polystyrene boxes, that's an investment. But, if I can get those and if I like them, if I can manage with them, then yeah, that's an option.
Well, even your styrofoam that you're using right now, Brad, that you're installing, like, are you able to just build yourself a nice big crate to store that in and throw a tarp over it for the summer months? If you park it on let's say a south side of your shed, where you got the windbreak of a shed,
Yeah,
you could leave it just outdoors. Your styrofoam, that I wouldn't think the mice would get into your styrofoam, at least not that high density stuff.
they can.
Not to a degree,
They,
anyway.
they can. Yeah,
Oh
they
yeah,
can
they
chew right
could.
through that. Um, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Doug's going to go to the chat. He's just on too much of a delay. Thanks, Doug. Thanks for coming in. You can stay on the screen if you want, but he's going to go in the chat. Yeah, that's a good option to maybe stack it and shrink wrap it onto a pallet and then
Mhm.
cover it with a tarp. Of course, the sun just eats everything, right? So
Yeah.
Do you have problems with ants in it?
I don't have as
Some of
much
the
of an ant problem. No.
sometimes the foam, you know, I've noticed it even on some of the buildings, the Stresskins panels, they get in there and they love it.
Yeah,
The carpenter ants get into it.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm
They
just
even.
catching up on the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, not so much ants. We have ants, but it's not much of a problem here. They're not a huge issue for me. Thankfully, you know, some
Yeah.
problems I don't have.
No hive beetles.
No hive beetles yet.
Mm.
I don't
Not
Um,
think
yet.
they'll ever make it up there. They won't last the winter.
well, see, that's the
Yeah.
research that I really wish would happen, Mike,
Yeah.
because there's still big controversy about the border, and there are those who say, "Oh no, hive beetles are a problem," but uh,
They survived the winter,
you know
guys.
what? I get comments like that you just made, Mike, from people who are in the northern states and they are in quote hive beetle prone area or
Mhm.
whatnot, and the people up north just say it's not really a problem. So tell me about your experience where you are, Mike, with hive beetle.
Um, I've seen them. I may see 3 or 4 a year, and it's
Yeah.
usually I'm helping somebody, and it's a package they brought it from down south.
So
And then,
you don't take any measures concerning hive beetle.
no, I've never put a trap in ever.
Yeah. So
No, I
do you
don't have it.
avoid using pollen patties?
Do I? No, I
Okay.
don't use them as a rule, anyways. We have good pollen flows, and
But you can, if you want to use pollen
oh,
patties, not a problem.
yeah. The only problem we had this year was someone that got a package. He says, "I see worms." I said, "Put them in the freezer."
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, "They're still good. Just kill everything." I said, "And
Yeah.
we'll deal with your beetles." And they were packages. They came from down south.
Mhm.
There's
Well, they.
man of the hour,
Uh,
even
Yeah,
JW.
JW.
mhm.
Sorry, Corey, you were saying something.
Well, no, it's just that I seen a presentation through our OBA, and the beetles do survive the winters. They're all down south in Essex County here in Ontario. They're making it through the winters. They just get cuddled up into the cluster, and they are surviving. The beetles all around me. It's in Gatineau. It's in Montreal. It's not in my colonies. I have not seen them yet, but it's a matter of time, I
So
guess.
again, how much of a problem are they for those people? Do they have to take specific measures to battle the beetles? Can they
I
use
I
the
I
pollen patties?
I
That sort of
cannot
thing.
answer that because I've never really had a discussion with it. It came in through Quebec
Yep,
one time, and
I
there was
remember that.
a big argument, or well, actually, there was a disagreement between a couple of suppliers, and it yeah, and it kind of snowballed. Now it's all around me. Um, I heard it's as close as Long Sault, which is a 20-minute drive from me. Montreal is only an hour. Gatineau's an hour, so it's like they're all around me, but they are surviving the winter. And it was actually our general manager through the OBA that gave the presentation, and it's just something that we're going to have to get ready to deal with sooner or later. I just as soon let it be much later myself, because once it's here, you're never getting rid of it, and
Of
it's
course.
really how
Yeah,
fast do you want it to come,
yeah.
you know? Let it come up, migrate naturally, or let it come up as fast as an airplane can fly. The decision is there to be made.
But there's also the question is what does it mean? And talking to people like Mike and Mike, Minnesota Mike, I've talked to about it, and other people who live in the northern states, I talk to about it, and they say, yeah, technically it's here. They say it's not really an issue. So I'd really like to learn more about that. There's Bob Walker. How are you this
Hey,
evening?
Bob.
I had to
So I'd
even it out there. Ian dropped out right as I came in, or
yeah, he saw you coming.
he saw it's that crappy charge cord.
well, well, we're doing a little telethon
Donate
here.
to Ian.
Love it.
See if we can get Ian a new charge cord. I'll get him one for Christmas.
I guess he's still on the stream on YouTube that I'm watching. Maybe I'm not caught up. That's what's wrong.
Oh yeah, you're not caught up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
no.
Way
jumped in quite a
behind,
while
eh?
ago. Yeah, you're way behind.
We're way behind. I was watching it though. It was running.
Yeah.
So everybody good tonight?
Good. You have a
Oh, yeah,
grandbaby yet?
Not yet. Still waiting. Still waiting. So they my daughter-in-law's blood pressure spiked or something, so they decided that they were going to induce labor, but they had to wait till they got her blood pressure down before they could induce the labor. So they've started that, so they're expecting in the morning. So that's the current prognosis is we'll have grandson number 2 tomorrow.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm excited. It's the heir to the Walker throne. Boy, is he going to be disappointed.
Well, he'll have fun smashing hive beetles growing up.
Yeah, right. He's going to have to.
Mhm.
Got plenty of them. Plenty. So
And the reason
last
I
night I
asked
saw
you-
on the live stream, we were talking about flying over Ian's barn.
Oh yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah, that was about an hour ago.
Yeah.
Welcome to the present, Bob.
I know. It was playing the whole time. I don't know what happened.
Alan,
I'm trying to keep up with the chat.
you're the first one on the whole chat, Bob, but I could understand that they were speaking real English. That's that A stuff up there, and and A. How you doing, A?
You can first person you can understand on the stream.
Good grief.
None of that metric crap anymore. We're here. You're outnumbered now. No, I'm just kidding.
I I got a question for you northern boys on the insulation. Do you guys actually put foam insulation around some of your pallets, or was that, or
Yeah,
how do you wrap
there's
those pallets?
well, there's different ways. Corey wouldn't use anything as uh, high R value that as I'd use,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's surprising how little they can get away with. I've used 10 years ago when I wintered outdoors. The only winter I did, I only used what's called a bee cozy, and it's only an R8 insulation. It's kind of a bag that's a sort of a donut shape with some fiberglass insulation inside. I think it's fiberglass. I'm not sure what's in it, but it's just
Kind of
got
a
some
pain.
R8. Yeah, well, yeah, I didn't find them too bad, but regardless, you can use different things, whether it's fiberglass or polystyrene or what have you. Doug has a yard where he's actually got polystyrene hive bodies,
Mm-hmm.
so he doesn't have to wrap those. That's really nice. It's a lot less work.
And what's your value on are those like those? What are they? Having a senior moment. What's the brand name on them? Are those ones that Doug? You know?
I don't know what the ones that Doug is using, what the brand. Their company in Edmonton builds those.
Okay.
Uh, I have some. You may see the actually in my picture here. Maybe you can't see one. Um, I have some 6 frame polystyrene
Yeah.
boxes, and they're Paradise Bee Box from
Okay.
Finland. But there's different companies make them. I don't know what the R value is. I would expect that the R value is probably about
Okay.
8 to 10,
You know
because
the
it's about
what?
an inch and a half.
I bought some styrofoam today. I've used some styrofoam on top of my. I make my own. Uh,
I think he gets them from BP Grower, Beaver Plastics.
That sounds
okay.
right.
Let me see if I can. Lane
Mr.
Straw Honey
Roy,
Brood Box.
welcome.
Good God. I've grown 10 pounds of camera.
Yeah. Welcome to both of you.
Yeah.
No, and I'm a short man. I'm not that big.
You're not
Yeah,
short. You're like me. I tell people I'm vertically challenged.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
See, I can get away with it.
Vertically challenged.
I'm 6'4". I can get away with it.
Oh, good God. I'm only 5'8". I'm tiny in there.
Well,
No, I
you're the
just,
guy. You're the guy the world is built for.
okay.
I'm 6'4" in a 5'8" world,
Yeah,
and it's
try
a
to
pain
find
in the back.
pants when you're, this big around and only this tall.
I
Yeah.
seem to be able to find those. If it goes
Don't,
around me, it's only 24 inches high.
no, I just want to jump on. When you guys were talking about the insulation part, Dr. Milbrath from MSU, which I listen to quite a bit down here in Michigan. Uh, I mean, you can get into a whole big fight on those shows about wrapping hives, unwrapped, putting insulation on. But I seem
Yeah,
to I put the 2-inch foam on top, and I used to wrap in tar paper, and then I just got tired of it because I had to put it somewhere like you. But the 2-inch foam seemed to work pretty good as long as my bees are healthy.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
I don't know if I can afford that stuff or not. I bought a 4-bay sheet today. I just had to go to my local lumber yard, which is an independent, and I usually run a monthly bill there for woodenware for my bee. I make a lot of my own stuff, and I took a sheet out of there, and I never looked at my bill till I got home. Sheet of 4x8 2-inch styrofoam,
yeah.
$46.
Yep.
One sheet,
Okay. So let me ask you this: 2-inch? Did you say
2-inch.
4 foot by 8 foot?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
40? How many dollars?
$46 for
My
one
store
sheet.
that sheet would go for $130, my friend.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Usually they're 2 foot by 8 foot here, and they're $60 some.
Oh Lord, I thought I was getting robbed with
You
a.
see why I used all that red tape?
No,
Yeah.
I
just sick.
didn't want
I
to
just
buy
wanted to
any.
try some. I make my own sugar boards and pack it in there, and I use inch on top of them. You know, I use make a 2-inch shim, and put 4 pounds of sugar with my, you know, so-called secret formula that I mix in with it. You know, like everybody else uses. and
Oh,
and
so
anyway,
Laura's commenting about using 2-inch foam on all 6 sides. Yeah, I know Laura. She's a friend of mine, and
wow.
she started wintering outdoors. I think last year was your first year, wasn't it, Laura? And she had really good success. She just puts all of her hives. I forget how many she's got, maybe what 20 or 30 or something,
Wow.
and puts them all together in one big coffin and wraps them all on all sides with polystyrene and just locks them in there for the winter.
I've never insulated in the past other than inch insulation on the top of my uh, sugar boards or feeder shims, whatever you want to call them, you know. But I was going to do a little experiment, and I got and I bought a couple 2-inch sheets just to experiment with. Lord
Yeah.
God, I like to fell over when they was $46, but she said that's not too awfully bad.
Well, I
Whenever
got
I
to pick up 2 more sheets, so just to finish it off.
I requested a quote to get back to those polystyrene boxes from that company, and I want to say a pallet was like $1,100 or $1,200 for a pallet of those boxes. And each one of those boxes has a RFID in it, so it has a unique identifier that I guess you could read it with your phone if you got an RF reader on your phone.
The boxes
And
in it from Edmonton.
yeah, from Edmonton.
Oh, really?
When you're talking pallet, you talking 4 hives, or you talking about a pallet?
A pallet of boxes.
Okay.
But they're built
They're
in
already
a
molded. They're
box.
already
They're not flat packed. Yeah, they're.
So I'm not
How
sure
do you
how
say
many
that?
would come on a pallet. That'd be
Yeah.
Is that like those Enel hives that Bill talks
No,
about? Or is that something different?
plastic. This is actually a polystyrene hive.
It's a high
and
density polystyrene.
And in their little brochure here, it says it was negative 46C last winter, and their bees were fine in there. So I don't know how long Doug's been using it, but a year or so, I think.
Three. Thanks to people who donated so generously. I bought 3 nukes from Laura this spring, and boy, those things are just amazing. They're still going strong. They're just really great bees.
I dropped a link to that box in the chat if anybody's interested in looking at them. You have to call for a quote though, or email them.
Aren't those Enel hives? Are they not polystyrene also?
I think they're plastic.
Excuse me, fellas. I've been out mowing up the leaves, and I'm.
You're gonna be okay, JW.
Yeah, I did a lot of coughing. My wife said take some cough medicine, but I'm out of whiskey.
So I guess an Enel hive is a plastic wrap polystyrene.
Yeah. I thought maybe I don't have any. I do have 4 those Apimays, and they got their good points and bad points. Mostly good, I'd say. I've had good luck with them.
What's the bad points on? Because I bought one just because I wanted to this year for Nabi on the Apame.
I do a lot of oxalic acid vaporization, and they're a pain for that. You got to have a nylon bushing and so forth. And I do quite a lot of vaporization treatments, and also they've got a little feeder on top, and I get a little old. Oh, you farmers know what oak bugs are. I get a little old bug. They're not small hive beetles, and they get inside those feeders. I feed quite a bit of 1-to-1 you know, in the early fall. I feed very little. I feed very little or practically no 2-to-1 for on the account I put the sugar boards on for reserve, and my hives are in pretty good shape, are pretty heavy. I check them for weight. So
I still got buckets on my yard behind the house here. The
yeah.
one, and I went to take them off tonight because the temperature is going to start moving from the 50s down to the 40s and 30s. And I like to got tore up tonight when I popped that bucket off. They were all over the bottom, pulling that
Yeah.
2-to-1 down. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're
I'm
nasty.
feeding some 1-to-1, but it's 57 here right now where I'm at. So we were almost 80 this afternoon. So it was hot here. I'm Southern Illinois now. So, but it's
Yeah, I wouldn't dare open up a colony at this time of the year right now, even for mite washes. My goodness, they just rip you apart right now. Now's not the time to go in.
yeah.
they were talking about doing that, the dribble method. And I was thinking about it because it seemed a little easier. But when I cracked 2 boxes apart, I got tore up that one day. And I said, nah, this is not for me.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, treating your bees from the outside this time of year is a real bonus.
It's
Yeah.
a perfect thing. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't put my sugar shims on until usually somewhere around Christmas or first of the year. I don't put it on now, but I'm making them, and I hate to make them things.
JW, where you are, do you like go through a fall dearth or something that you have
Thank
to
you,
be
Norm.
so heavy?
Yeah, I do. We haven't had anything hardly. And the people talk about the goldenrod. I've never got a nectar flow from goldenrod, and we've got 3 different species of it here. But it's you get some pollen, but I never get any nectar flow out of the goldenrod to speak of. You get a few fall asters, but very few. I mean, our fall we had a real wet summer, and then it just dried up to nothing. I've actually got honeysuckle, bush honeysuckle, and a few dandelions blooming right now. It's been so warm this fall that the flowers that's normally in the spring, some of them pop back out for some reason.
well, I drive across Michigan as a salesman, and I was over on the east side, and there's a field just outside of Curran, the place up northeast, but it's got yellow flowers on it, and it's been there for the last 2 weeks. And it's a full field, the small yellow flowers, and it's just been packed. I have no idea what they are. So I hate to traipse out there and take a picture and get shot, though.
Yeah. Surely wouldn't shoot you for taking a picture, but I don't know what it might be, but that's kind of out of my territory anyway. It's about 4 hours north of drive yet. So.
Okay.
Is it a very low plant, Roy?
No, from the road. It looks like it's about 3 foot high, and it looks like a planted field, like it flowered. But it's been in the 50s for us, and low 50s, high 40s. So I have no idea I can't get close enough to take a look at it anyhow. But
it is a yellow.
It's yellow.
It's a yellow flower. It's not sweet clover by any chance, is it?
I was wondering if it's sweet clover, but you said it was planted, so
yeah. It's a field of planted, or unless it's just it looks planted.
Well, I plant sweet clover here for my honeybees. I've got, I just planted small plots, 7 or 8 acres at a time, scattered around different places, but I actually plant it. And I'd say if you did as warm as it's been here, I'd say if you did some fall planting on some sweet clover, it might be blooming out a little bit. I don't know that. I'm just talking now. I haven't done it, so.
Now I'll have to get the book out and look up sweet clover.
Yeah.
There are a lot of
sweet
deer
clover
in
is
it
pretty
too.
tall. it can be tall. Like it can be anywhere from 3 to 5 feet even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of it around here is about 1.5 feet, 2 foot tall, actually. So, my VIA buddies over in Missouri, they're trying to. I'm always commenting on their bourbon. I can't hardly stand the smell of a bourbon drink, and I'm always kidding them because they have pretty good luck selling their bourbon infused or bourbon, whatever they do to it to mix it into the creamed honey. So nasty stuff. I'm telling you, nasty stuff.
my buckwheat didn't come back this year.
Well, buckwheat's got a little white flour though.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff in my area, it could be buckwheat in the fall, but it'd be a little white flour. Or that's what all of it I ever seen is.
There's I use an app called PlantNet on my phone, and then you just go take a picture of it.
Yep.
And it'll tell you what.
Say Norman's got a point here.
Yeah.
The thing is, sweet clover is sweet clover. Sweet clover is not a clover. It's just the name of it.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're right. Most clover is no more than 12, 14 inches tall at the best. Sweet clover, it's a legume, and it can get pretty tall.
Yep. It's not a true clover though, Norman.
Correct. That's why it's technically it's one word. It's not sweet clover, 2 words. It's one word. It's like butterfly. Butterfly is not a fly. It's a butterfly, right?
So is honeybee one word?
Honeybee
or 2
is
words?
2 words because it's actually a bee. Dragonfly is 1 word because it's not a fly. Right? Housefly is 2 words because it's a fly.
See, I really need that dictionary for Christmas.
That's why I told you. That's why I was telling you that you're getting a dictionary.
Well, the clover never gets very high around here because we got enough dairy farmers that stuff is cut off before it flowers half the time.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We're getting Charlie a fictionary for Christmas though.
Fictionary?
Through all those made up words.
You got to be very
Buckwheat.
specific about that.
How tall does buckwheat get? Norman asks.
Mine was.
It's not real tall, I don't think, is it?
I'm
Maybe.
gonna say 15 inches at the most.
Yeah.
Around here, anyway.
A white flower that makes black honey.
Yeah, it certainly does. Real dark.
Just,
That sells for 5 pounds of it to put in a fly of the buckwheat. Then after I listened to Chad a couple times, I gave it to my son and I said, "Take it over to your house." You can plant it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty dark. Looks like blackstrap molasses.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, for sure.
With a
Yeah, it
slight
would
hint
spoil
of
my
burnt
honey.
motor oil.
Mm-hmm.
And that's being kind.
You know, I've got some few older folks that seem to like that real dark honey. I don't. You know, they want it dark.
Yeah, it's something the older folks are familiar, especially Europeans.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like my battery is about to die here on me, guys. So I'm gonna wish you guys all a good night here.
Okay.
Good night.
All right. Put the
You
standard get
Canadians
Corey a
do
new
have
phone
better
charger.
batteries up, by the way, if you want to talk this.
Yeah. I
They
do
shut
have
our
a
power.
charger cord. I suppose I could plug it in. Yeah, I suppose. But you don't have to put your banner up for me.
What's the
Brad,
carbon
no.
charge for plugging your phone in?
The
For
carbon
sure.
tax for plugging your phone. Please donate to get Corey a new phone charger.
No, it's all good, guys. I'm good. Thanks. Have a good evening, guys.
Thanks for coming in, Corey.
All right. Well, maybe my thing won't even let me leave.
Hotel California.
There.
Actually, this past weekend I had a decent day out at my table. I was only out for a couple hours, and
Yeah.
$260 in sales.
Nice.
Literally in like 2 hours. So
Nice.
it,
Yeah, you got to do that a little more often.
it would have
Those
been
prop-
better. I always share to a Facebook community, but the problem is they have gatekeepers. The admins have to approve the posts. So if it takes them 3 hours to approve the post, by the time I'm wrapping everything up, people are just seeing I was out there in that group. So then I start getting phone calls. When are you going to be out there again? Well, I live here, so you can come by anytime and get honey.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't get that it's not just that day. I'll
Bob,
bring him
I'll
in.
tell you what, none of my business, but I bought a feather flag off of
I'm just going to
Amazon,
say that. Yep.
local honey. I stuck it, I'm a mile and a half off of the main road highway at my main farm. And I've just got it up there on a table, and I've sold the better part of 700 pounds off of a little old table with that feather flag down there and the sign. And that feather flag seems to attract their attention. And they're 70, 80 bucks. You can get them on Amazon. It says local honey, and they're a wonderful attention getter. I'll say that. I
Yep.
have people
Okay. I'll look into it.
passing by on the highway that drive up there and buy all the time, and I just got it on the honor system. I did
My
get
biggest problem is I'm lazy.
Yeah, I suffer from that too.
I put my table out there, I get home from work and it's like, okay, well, I can put my table down there, but then I got to lug all the cases to the back of my car and then to the car down to the table, then unload the table, then load the car back and then back in the house. I hate to say I don't feel comfortable doing the
leaving it out.
here because I get so many people that just walk up and down the road here.
Sure.
That it'd be easy pickings.
Well, they got me for 12 pounds of honey in my change last week. I keep usually somewhere around $50 in fives and ones for people to make change with and I've got it in the 3-pound coffee can. So
I'll tell you what, probably the best thing I did for my honey sales is, and it came from the channel and is just selling flavored creamed honeys. The profit margin is so much better. They still buy liquid honey or runny honey. It's not that they don't buy that. It's just I make twice as much when they buy a flavored honey.
Sure.
So it's easy to rack the numbers up.
I'd buy some more. Or sell some creamed honey if I could get Melissa Sauceman to make more of it and let me have it.
So right now, where I always struggle with the creamed honey is because I don't go down to the table that often. Is how much do I want to have an inventory of my total honey supply, right? So, and then of that, how much of each flavor do I want out of what I deem I need for the creamed honey? So I'm always juggling. I've got my little sample thing there. So when someone comes, I ask them, have they ever tasted it? Most people here have said no, they've never tasted cream honey. So, well, let's try some. You're here, it's free. Try something different. And usually I'll sell 1 or 2 extra jars of creamed honey just by letting them taste it with a little one of these little spoons.
Yeah, samples are critical.
And I just keep one of those plastic grocery store bags and, hey, I want to try the cinnamon one. Great, grab a spoon. They dig out some, taste it, throw the spoon in the bag and grab another spoon for the next flavor. And I sold at least 50-50. But the difference is when I sell 10 pounds, let's say I sell $100 of runny honey at $10 a pound, that's 10 pounds of honey. When I sell $100 worth of creamed honey, it's 5 pounds of honey. So
yeah,
I'm making twice as much on it. So
Well, you come to my house, you can buy a quart of honey for $25, and my wife will give them a dozen eggs and for free. And I'm like,
I'm gonna tell you the craziest thing that happened to me on something like that. So I have a customer that comes religiously every couple of weeks. He's, hey, can I come by and get some honey? Sure, no problem. And we got to talking, and he was talking about a smoker. I said, he asked me about where my pigs went. I said, well, I took them to freezer camp, and the problem was my wife wouldn't cook them. She wouldn't eat them. So I gave my sisters all the sausage, but I had the pork belly and a couple pork shoulders. So he bought $50 worth of honey and left with $125 worth of pork. You know, so he came out winner on that. Well, I did, because it freed up my freezer space in my freezer in my honey house. So I guess it was a win-win. But she was never going to cook it. It was just going to go bad. So gave it to him.
I got one more question before I hop off for the chat and you guys. My wife wants me to get into the glass, the hexagon ones, just for something a little prettier. Is there a size that does better than most?
I only use one size of that hex jar. You're talking about the small ones that are hex this way, right? Not the big ones that are hex that way. Okay. I use a 8 ounce is what I use. That's a half pound, right? Well, it's actually a little bit more than a half pound. But that's what I use for my creamed honey. I don't really use it for anything else but creamed and flavored honeys.
Yeah, she wanted it for my runny honey, so in there. And now that you said creamed honey, if I start doing that, at least I could use it for that as well.
Yep. And I mean, as far as my people here, they like mason jars, but the price, if you haven't priced mason jars out at the Walmart or any place, they're kind of expensive now, you know. So
I got Blaine's in Michigan, and I can get mason jars for a 12-pack with lids for $11.99 for a 12-pack. So I've got almost 3/4 of a pallet upstairs on those.
I was buying them, the pint jars at Walmart, and I probably got still 9 cases of pint jars already bottled sitting on the porch. But now I got to move them from the case to the warmer, back to the case to the table, you know, so it's always just shuffling stuff around, where I kind of like Brad's idea a little bit better. Put it in the warmer, warm it up day before I'm going to bottle it and put it on the table is probably the best way to do it. But the warmer works good. You just got to be mindful, because if you leave it in there too long, it will. I mean, I had some that actually tasted burnt just from 100-degree temperature.
Yeah, you can leave it in there indefinitely. Yeah.
So just wasted that honey.
I was just going to add, Roy, I can't tell you what size is best for your area, etc. But my opinion on sizes is, remember that you'll always have that customer that will buy the cheapest thing you have.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them. So don't give them too many cheap options, right? When I started, I'm going to try to talk in pounds now. I had about a half pound size, I had a pound, 2 pound. And I ditched that half pound. It was a beautiful little jar too, but I ditched that half pound because I could just tell that there was people who would buy the 1 pound that didn't, right? So it was kind of undermining the sales of the larger size. So you can have smaller sizes, but definitely boost the price. Boost the price.
I see they like my 2-pounders, 2-pound bears, and the 1 pound koi. Some pick up the 1 pound skep every once in a while, but
my very popular size, most popular size, is what you would call a 2 pound.
A 1
And
kg.
I would ditch the 1 pound altogether, but it goes in my stores.
Yeah.
So I like to have it in my store because a person might look at that and say, I haven't tried that. I'm going to buy the small one to try it. But they can see that the 2 pound is a far better price. They just don't want to, commit to that. So I feel like I should keep those in the stores. I'm kind of thinking that I want to ditch them altogether other than the stores. I never sell them direct. I never ever sell a 1 pound direct.
I got a question for you, fine gentlemen and ladies in the chat. I had someone reach out to me that owns a store in a neighboring town, and they have a display rack that they are basically wanting to rent the space. The space is $10 a month, so $120 a year, but they also want 10%. So what do you think about that type of setup where it's kind of you're renting the space and you're paying them a commission?
In
Yeah,
my business with selling meat, it's a 30% margin world or 35. So that eats into it pretty quick in there. Plus your travel time on top of that.
yeah, yeah. I have one store like that. They charge me a rental and then they take a cut. Their cut's only 10%, but their rental is a little steep. And it all comes down to how much they can move, right?
Right.
Because they're taking a big chunk off the top of that right away because they're charging me so many dollars per month. So if they move enough product, I track it every month. I track what does it end up looking like for a gross margin, just like Roy was saying. And if they're not cutting it, and they weren't cutting it, and I told them I was leaving, and they kind of made me an offer on a new situation, and so we'll try out what they suggest. But my gut says that they're not going to be able to move enough product to make the acceptable margin.
Yeah, they would have to sell just to break even. They would have to sell basically 13 pounds a month break even, right? Because it's $10. So that's 1 pound a month just to pay for the shelf, and then another 1 pound, right, for 10% on top of that. So
Well, our big push in Michigan is Michigan made products. So they should be begging to have our stuff on the shelf. And I've got 3 grocery stores I deal with that I service with my job, but they're all waiting for my honey next year. So I just got to figure out what I'm going to charge them per pound. I don't
Yeah,
want to
I
get
would
under.
far rather give them 30%. I'd far rather give them 30%.
Mm.
Bob, if you want my spreadsheet on how I calculate my store, I'll give it to you, and then you can do some what ifs.
Okay.
On that. It's pretty simple, but I've already got it made. So if you want it, I'll send it over to you.
You'd be the first around here in the South to do creamed honey. Yeah, I think I am around here, and the thing is, you have to get people to try it. If you don't get them to try it, it's just something else on the shelf that they don't know what it is, right? Oh, well, I've never had that before, so I don't see a need, right? But when you start and really coming up to Brad's and Brad giving me a huge case of different creamed honeys, stuff that I never would have thought of, like dill creamed honey and the garlic creamed honey and stuff like that. And then why would you do a garlic creamed honey? I'm not spreading that on a piece of toast, right? You could be a garlic bread, basically, but using it for cooking. If you're going to glaze something with a garlic or a lemon pepper, like James does a lemon pepper one, it would be great because the caramelization from the honey and then the flavoring.
Yeah. It's great on fried chicken, that garlic.
So it's something to look. I see the comment like Chris. I get my flavorings from Amazon mainly. I just use, and one of the things I do, and I think I got it from Brian at Flower Street is I use freeze dried fruit powder. So it's just freeze dried fruit that's been pulverized into a powder, and that's what I use to mix in. Unless I get like the chocolate donut was from Flavor God, and I've got another one to do. But I'm out of the little jars, so I have to get some more of those too.
And I really hate to see people go astray, because creamed honey is creamed honey, flavored honey is flavored honey. The two aren't synonymous. Okay,
But what if
so
you have
you
cream
can
flavored honey?
you
Because it
can
is
have
cream,
you can have flavored honey that's creamed honey, or flavored honey that's
runny honey.
liquid honey. So what I'm saying is, creamed honey is a market as well. Like, you can sell creamed honey that's not flavored. Flavored honey is flavored honey, and it can be cream flavored honey. And Bob makes really fantastic cream flavored honeys. I know, and that's one of my go-tos. I absolutely love the. We're into the strawberry right now, and holy smokes, that stuff is good. So just so that you don't, if you're going to make creamed honey, you can make creamed honey and sell that as is. Uh, you
So,
don't have to think it has to be flavored.
but you sell the creamed honey at the same price that you sell your regular honey,
I
right?
sell my creamed honey for the same price as my liquid honey. Yes,
But not flavored, just creamed.
I don't make flavored honeys.
So the it and I learned this in Canada as well when I was up there. So the beauty of just a plain creamed honey, a lot of people like to put their honey as a sweetener in their coffee or tea or something like that. It's much easier. You just take a tablespoon and scoop it and put
Yeah,
it in your hot drink, and
it,
it's sweet.
it doesn't
Right?
run all over. Yeah,
Yeah, it
it's
doesn't
nice.
run at all. The issue with flavor in liquid honey is some powders. Yeah, you can't do it with the liquid, not the powder.
Yeah, it depends on what you're doing. My buddy who does the flavored honeys, he calls it a cinnamon stick honey. It's actually got a stick of cinnamon in it. It's a liquid flavored honey. So, most of the flavored honeys are are creamed. He actually has a lemon liquid lemon honey as well. Um, so just the terminology here is starting to sound like creamed honey is always flavored. It's not. The two aren't synonymous. So you can have flavored liquid, which isn't as common, but you can do it. You can have non-flavored. People talk about nectar sources as well. You talk about, you know, sourwood honey and blueberry honey and things like that. And so there's sometimes confusion over, is this a flavored honey, or is this or you talk about nectar source honey. So there's that too. Lemon and ginger goes nice in tea.
Right.
And when you cream honey too, creamed honey does impart a different kind of a flavor to your mouth. You taste a spoonful of liquid honey, you taste a spoonful of creamed honey. It's exactly the same honey. In my case, it's exactly the same honey. One is liquid, one is creamed, and it will taste different. It'll have a different mouth feel and perception of flavor.
Is this the thing you're talking about, Roy? This kind of
Yeah.
jar?
Yep, that's the one.
So this is my lemon cream, and
Uh-oh.
the thing that I do that I don't know if it's different. All right, this is just how I do it. So one of the things when I do the creaming process, once I go to add the mix the flavor in, which I do in a KitchenAid mixer because I'm doing smaller batches, I let the powder. This is critical in my opinion, and which means nothing to anybody else. Just to me, it's very critical. Is that whenever you're adding a flavor, you're making a mixture, right? So what you want is it's basically dehydrated, freeze dried, right? So what you want the moisture from the honey to rehydrate that powder. So it's not something that when I mix the flavor in, that I spin it for a few minutes and then bottle it up. I actually mix it and then, for 15, 20 minutes, shut it off. And I'll repeat that process for a while. I'm not just mixing, stirring it in and then bottling it. And then the second most important thing to me is that we all know if you put anything in honey over time, it's going to rise to the top, right? If it doesn't set fast enough. So a lot of people, I can't do it here, but a lot of people will just put their cases of freshly jarred creamed honey over in the floor and let it naturally just solidify, right? Or finish the process. I can't do that here. So I immediately, after I jar it, I put it in the refrigerator and bring that temperature down really quick, because the honey's going to get thick really quick, and it's going to stop it, those flavors. If there's anything that's not mixed or anything really well in there, it's going to stop it from rising to the top before it can set good. So, and one of the things with using the freeze-dried organic peach that I used is that there's actually bits of peach in the jar. It's not just the honey in this case. So. But you can see it's set good, and there's nothing, like no big crystals floating on the top, and it's really a smooth set. So people seem to like it. And if they like it, I love it.
Roy, I'll show you a jar. I used to use these. This was my small jar, and it's a beautiful little jar. This picture does not do it justice. It's called an oval hex jar, and it's hard to see with that picture.
Oh, it's got two bigger sides.
Yeah, the two of the sides are broad. Gives you a nice place for a label, but it's a beautiful little jar. It looks like that's a little bit better picture. It looks like a little perfume jar or something. It's really pretty. It shows the product really nicely.
I am jar.
I am jar. Yep, just like that. All right.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's a really pretty little jar. If I'm going to go with a hex, I'll pick an oval hex every time.
Well, I appreciate you letting me come on, and I'm gonna hop off and listen
Well,
in the
thanks for
chat.
coming.
And you guys have a great again. It's
Thanks.
Thanksgiving.
Roy,
Right.
what part of Michigan are you in?
I'm in northern Michigan. I'm east of Traverse City,
You're a
Michigan.
Youper?
If you want to. No, I'm not a Youper. I used to be meat cutter up in the Youper for a lot of years. So up in the Sioux.
I worked at Michigan State for a while in Lansing, East Lansing, actually.
Yeah, I'm 2.5 hours north up there. I'm about 100 miles from the Mackinac Bridge.
Okay,
So
you're north of like Frankenmuth and all that.
Oh yeah, I'm over on the Lake Michigan side.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, in there. Like I said, if you look up Traverse City, the big town, I'm just to the east a little bit. So
Blueberry
good night, everybody.
country.
Good night, Roy. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah. I didn't mean to hijack your show, man. I just jumped in here and started talking about whatever. I apologize.
This is conversation. This is awesome, Bob. Thanks for coming in. And I'm not much of a chatter, and I appreciate everybody adding to the conversation. I really appreciate that.
I'm Chatty Cathy tonight.
Chatty
I'm all hopped
Cathy.
up on monsters.
Yeah.
I'll be all over you like a spider monkey chip. I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew. That's a movie reference. If you know, if you know, you know. If you ain't first, you're last. Bet you JW's probably even seen that movie. Talladega Nights. No. Legend of Ricky Bobby.
JW, I apologize, JW. I had to mute your mic. We're getting a lot of feedback and background noise. So I'll turn it back on again. You can turn it on too. Don't think
No,
you
it's
can't.
my wife
So
gets a little carried away with the TV in the other room. So
yeah, well that's okay. I just
don't hurt my feelings. I understand.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
actually disabled it some myself. So
I had to hunt it down. It was getting kind of loud, and I thought, oh, I better hunt this down.
yeah, it was me. I'm sure. I usually is.
That's the nice thing about the panel here. It shows me where the sound is coming from.
I don't
That's
doubt
nice.
it. And I have to get on there every now and then. A lot of it depends on what she's got on. Some of it doesn't carry, and some of it does.
Yeah. I could just hear a little bit a while ago, and there was something else changed.
Yeah, I seen it popped up on my screen that you had muted me.
Oh, you saw that? Okay, good, good.
I made a corporate move this evening.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so it probably won't happen, but if it does, it'll be like epic proportion type move. So let me give you the rundown on this. So everybody knows I took a job with the bread company. Actually, I work for a guy that owns the territory, right? But I've been delivering and working in the bread business off and on since 1998, including some management roles. Well,
management
today,
role. I see what you did there in the bread business.
So today, I saw that the supervisor position for the entire warehouse for the baking company that I deliver out of is hiring for that position. So I applied for that position.
Good for you.
Today. So I could go in there one day and be a delivery guy, and the next day I could come in and be the boss over the whole place.
You could be your boss's boss.
I could be my boss's boss.
That's everybody's dream, man. That is everybody's dream.
That'd be epic. It probably won't happen, but
hey,
they like to hire these young guys to get in these roles that they can work like a rented mule,
Well, they're going to get some experience and hit the ground running, right? You know what you're doing right away.
But my bullshit threshold is really low.
Well, that can be good.
I mean, it's absurdly low, as you guys know on this channel.
Well, congratulations. That's good news, and
we'll see how it goes.
We'll be rooting for you on this end.
I just think it'd be funny. It'd just be a feather in the cap type deal.
Yeah, go in one day and then see your boss and say, "Oh, by the way, there's been some changes."
Yeah. We're not going to do this crap anymore.
I'm now your boss. So
go from bread to French toast.
Bread to French toast. Right on.
Crepes, the little thin pancakes. We're going to
So I got to tell you a little bit of story about Brian. I asked Brian to show me the insides of his honey filling machine so I could compare it to mine, and we did determine that the Hilco machine has a larger motor than the Vevor machine. So because I'm very unhappy with my Vevor honey filling machine, the motor is obviously undersized. And so I was messing around with it today, and I was trying to find something on this motor. There are no markings at all. I went to the length to actually take the motor out and take the motor entirely apart. And so I had that sitting on my table. I took a picture of it and sent it to Brian. I said, just be glad I didn't make you go deeper. My motor in about 15 pieces on the table. So I got it all back together, Brian, and it actually works.
Probably works better now.
Well, I wouldn't say
now
that.
It was made in Canada, manufactured in Canada.
Yeah, now it's assembled in Canada. Made in China, made
I
better
don't
in
know who
Canada.
made mine, to be honest with you. I bought it before Hilco had one and all that. It was at the at Hive Life when I
If you
bought
ever
it.
get motivated, just take those little tiny screws out all the way around, lift that cover off, and take a picture of it for me.
I'll probably never be that motivated, but if I do, I will for sure take a
Wouldn't do
picture.
that for a buddy, would you? And if there's any markings on that
The
motor,
problem is I would take it apart, no problem. But then there would be a passel of pieces everywhere because I wouldn't put it back together right away.
no, it's not that. It's just the little screws and the cover lifts off.
Oh, okay.
That's all. I don't need you to take the motor out. I gave Brian PTSD with that picture. That's funny. I'll see.
probably
I'll see if
halfway
I can
giddy right
find that.
now. I'm
You're what?
way past my bedtime.
Sorry, buddy.
Job equals paid slave. I know. I thought about buying a route, and then I was like, why would I buy a job? Pay for a job every week.
Good night, Mike, if you're still there.
Hate him, kind of. Oh, who do you work for, Norman, if you don't mind me asking?
Talk you into taking your toys apart. I was
I
the
got
kid
you.
who took his toys apart.
I got it. Ugh. I got to start bottling up swarm lure soon, too. If I want to send it into Amazon and let them just deal with it, I don't know.
I'm glad Norm remembers it as this because he was not happy that day. It was actually his. It was actually his. We were rooming together. It was actually his computer, and he came home, and I had his computer and about 50 pieces sitting around the house, and he just stood there in the living room looking at me like he was going to kill me. And I realized the gravity of what I had just done, but I did make it work again in short order. Well, we're on well over 2 hours. I really appreciate everybody stopping in. Some very good, lively conversation tonight. Thanks everybody to come in on the chat and on the screen. Really appreciate that. And thanks to Bob for allowing me to slide in at the last minute
Glad
for
you
a
did.
live chat tonight. Bob was waiting for his grandchild to arrive.
Oh, Appy Tablet's on yesterday.
So
cool.
So we're gonna end the live stream here and say thanks again. Don't forget to show up for Sawmill Charlie on Friday, Ricky on Thursday, I think. Horizontal, what is it? Horizontal bees, horizontal hives.
Rickiest, yeah.
Ricky's,
Yeah. The channel.
Horizontal bees.
Horizontal bees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. I'm going to end this off.